All right, my live homies, we are coming off a big time victory against the fighting Allen Flanagans of Ole Miss. 82-59. We'll go and start recording as soon as Ryan's ready to roll. Let us know who your MVPs are. This is going to be a tough one to figure out. Quite the team effort.
Give me 1 second, Jackson.
All right, Ryan's in the house. We got them 2010 ACA boys in the house.
Yes, sir. That was the most hilarious ending I think I've ever seen.
That's the one bad part about I like try to get the live going just a little bit, especially if we're dominating an opponent that by that much. I'm like kind of going back and forth trying to get this thing started. And I missed the last 30 seconds, I guess, which I hear Cheney blocked for like three shots to end the game.
Yeah, he blocked one, and then AD Scott blocked two. But I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah, I'm about ready to go. Get my scores all pulled up and everything. Got my box score. You can see the box score there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get it going. What kind of victory is that? 82-59. That's 23 points. Yep.
You're the accounting major. You should know.
It's all automated, man.
Yeah, right.
Put that thing in the Excel spreadsheet every time.
It's 23.
All right, let's do this thing. I'll hit record. All right, guys, we are coming off a huge SEC victory, 82-59, a 23-point victory against Ole Miss and the returning Allen Flanagan and Coach Flanigan, Wes Flanigan that transferred during the season. Man, it's another big fun victory. 4-0 in the SEC, number 1 in the SEC, the only team without a loss in the SEC. Ryan, are you having fun?
Man, I'm having a blast. This is a lot of fun. What do you think?
Man, it's a blast. The offense is playing great. The defense is suffocating. The whole team effort. You got to love every single player on the team. So many of the players on this team are skyrocketing through SEC play. CBM, Cardwell, Jaylin are getting better through SEC play. They're getting better through all their careers they've had so far. That's what we love about college basketball, getting to watch these guys develop, stick around the team for a couple years and get better every single year. And from there, even we're seeing them get better throughout this year. It's incredible. I don't know who we're going to pick for MVP. There's so many good players on this team, and it's such a team effort.
Yeah, it was such a balanced attack throughout the game. I think starting the game off, obviously Jalen had 7 points, right there off the bat. Was getting some good looks. But yeah, I mean, so many stat lines, so many. I think I have a clear kind of cut favorite for MVP, just given the energy that the guy brought today. But
And,
it
and
was
I'm ready to disagree with you so we can have a good argument. Whoever you pick.
well, I mean, it was just such a balanced effort. It's crazy. Our highest scorers both had 13. Dylan had 12, and everyone else right there just kind of around, 8, 9, 6. It was such a balanced effort from so many players tonight. It's crazy.
The highest two people on the team with minutes wise was Aiden Holloway, 22 minutes, and Jalen Williams at 22 minutes. Like that's all we're playing these guys. We've got stars in the making. We're playing them 22 minutes a game. The other team had 30 minutes from their highest scorer, last name Morrell. Can't remember what the first name is.
Matthew
Flanagan
Burrell.
played 29 minutes. So we're still doing the platoons. Who's your MVP then? Who's your guy?
I think I gotta go with Cardwell.
Wow.
I mean, just the energy he brought, just his footwork and the way that he's adjusting around the rim is at a level that we've never seen him do before. I mean, just the way that he is exploding out the floor, and just affecting the game around the rim. Look, most teams drop off significantly going to their bench for the five, right? I'd argue that we bring something off the bench that not a lot of people can match when it comes to that with just the athleticism And he showed that tonight around the rim and just a lot of drop-offs, affecting shots. Uh, I mean, one and one, I could have swore he was a WWE guy just pumping up the crowd. I think that
He
energy
did the
has
Hulk
a
Hogan like spin around, listen through the ear on both sides. He came on the pod after the SEC championship 2 years ago on the Jabari Smith team and talked to us for like 45 minutes. The audio is terrible because we tried to do it outside at Toomer's Corner, but we literally asked him, said, after you're done with this, 7 foot huge guy that loves to entertain wrestling, right? You've got to
yeah.
go in the WWE, and he
Been
just
call-
no,
You've been
he
calling
didn't
that for
have
a
it. He
while.
says going NBA, and then once you go after NBA, it felt like there may be like some conversation about ministry or media, maybe. But he told us he was going to go NBA, and we kind of like, okay, yeah, good for you, yeah, sure, yeah. The way he's playing right now, it's not NBA level, but he'll get some looks at the pros. He's finishing like if you get him the ball underneath the basket, it's done, right? And that's an amazing old school center mentality. Like you're feeling like little baby Shaq energy down there. If he gets the ball in his hands, it's gonna get finished in a dunk. And you saw tonight through contact with the and one, and now he's hitting free throws on top of it. Was
Dude.
he perfect from the line?
Yeah, I mean, dude, look at I know this is gonna blow a
No,
lot
not
of
perfect.
mind.
Well, was he perfect? Yeah, 2 for 2 from the line. Yeah,
Look,
I thought he got more
just
free throws than that.
I know we go over stats here in a minute, but let's just marvel at our free throw percentage. I have not seen us in the nines, I don't think, in my entire life.
91%. Shout out Ben. Is that the
90,
difference in this team? It's the free throw
91%.
percentage.
I don't know. It's an Auburn thing, right? To everyone gets so frustrated at our free throw machine, and rightfully so, right? We're not good historically from the line, but this team just absolutely has locked in. Denver, Chad Baker historically has always been so good from the at San Diego State where he's played. But obviously our biggest heels have been Janai, Dylan, and those I think those people really took it upon themselves this offseason to not be, and that Houston game I think had a lot to do with it, not be that Achilles heel that's going to hold this team back. And we have seen that percentage tick up every single game over the year, and it's been incredible to see. We're not moaning and groaning at the free throw line anymore. We're confident standing up there, and it's crazy.
Get your MVP votes in here in the YouTube chat because this is the game that I could most be pushed around with the fans saying who they want. I mean, you came in strong with the Dylan Cardwell. I in my head coming in just like fast react just because we've done so many of these where we've done MVP based off of who got us the most points when the game was still on the line. And Jalen Williams came in really strong this game. He was 7 of 7, perfect last game, and then came in and finished 2 great buckets to start this game to go 9-9. Then finally, his first miss after 9 straight makes was a murderous dunk that just barely didn't go in. He's going to finish one of those at some point, and it's the even if he doesn't, even the rest of the year, he has 1 miss per game where he tries to throw down a murder dunk to demolish a building. That's what's keeping him aggressive, and I love it. And he finished with, let's see how many points. There's so many people on our box score now because they put the backups in.
Yeah, yeah.
13 points. Let's see how many threes he got. 1 of 1 from three, 22 minutes, rebounds, 1 rebound. He had another great game. He disappeared in the second half, but he's staying aggressive. He's looking great out there. The start of the game, he set the tone. I don't know if you want to talk with Jalen Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen, I have a friend over here watching the game with me, and we just marvel at the beginning of the game, the way that we were moving the ball and finding Jalen open at the right spots on the floor to get easy baskets to start the game off. And that's what we've been doing these past few SEC games is that Jalen's flashing the great parts of the floor that just get him good looks. For
Get him on the move too. He's getting passes where he's already kind of got his shoulders down, ready to go towards the basket, and he finishes it
yeah,
now.
it's the ball movement is beautiful. And we talked a little before the game. I know I'm getting off topic here, but let's think about the teams in the past and what we saw from Ole Miss tonight and the ball sticking a lot, right? And I think there's a culprit there that is not on the Auburn team anymore that I don't think would be the case if he was still here this year. I think that ball would still stick at certain times. And there's a lot
He's
of
got
other
to get his. He's got to get his. So much he's got to get his. He's going to go to a team that just gets demolished in Neville Arena so he can get his. And he got his. by the end of the night, didn't he? He
I
led
mean,
their.
way
He's a
so.
leader. He's a leader on the Ole Miss team that scored 59. He had 10 points tonight. 10 points, 3 of 10 from the field, 0 of 1 from three, locked down by Lior Berman. There was a great sequence there where Flanigan had Lior Berman on, and each time he went down, you talking about the ball sticking in his hands. The entire possession was Allen Flanagan dribbling the ball, trying to get position on Lior in 3 straight possessions. One, Lior blocked it, I believe. 2 other times, Allen Flanagan just missed it when Lior was locking him up. And then Lior hit an open three to make that possession a +3 for Lior. After, man, that was something. You got to be so frustrated, an Ole Miss fan, to watch 3 straight possessions of him attempt to score on Lior Berman and not.
I mean, I think we all can kind of see this coming, right? Like we've seen enough over the years to know that, like, yeah, Allen's probably going to put up double digits, right? But it's going to be a tough 10.
That had
Just
to be the toughest 10 I've ever seen, right? It
I
was
mean,
all from
just
like weird transition stuff, put back twos, free throw line. There was one guy who disagreed with me on Twitter about this. I'll hear your opinion. I don't feel like, there's all this talk about Flanigan right now. I don't think Flanigan's game changed at all. I think he's playing some inferior opponents. And with the change in the charge rule, it looks like his game has changed, but it's not. He's still out of control, going down to the basket. Those have been charges in years past. And these transition finishes, again, charges in years past, and now he's being able to finish them, and he's getting blocking calls to go to the free throw line. So
yeah.
I don't think his game has changed at all.
No, I would agree with you on that. I
I
would
mean,
agree.
he did in a three. I mean, the announcers even mentioned it at one point. You know, it's bad when announcers mention this stuff because they don't like to admit this kind of thing. They're about how Flanagan's dribble almost looks like behind his body, like he's going too fast for his dribble. It's because he's out of control. He doesn't know how to control his body as much as he's very athletic. Maybe he should play tight end or something. And I'm going hard to Flanagan right now, but like the more I watch this game, and I know the fans are kind of like after seeing the booing and all that, are on their side, but we went back and forth in podcast pass. Are we going to boo? What do we think about Flanagan? Blah, blah, blah. The more I think about it, after watching how great this team plays and how unselfish this team is, I know it's like hip right now to be pro selfishness, to be like, go get yours, son. Go transfer and go wherever you want. Go get yours. That's being pro play or whatever. No, it's being selfish. It's not like I still love having team basketball. I still love kids that go to one school and have a good time at that school and want to do what's best for the team around them. You can say all this NCAA stuff like these schools are screwing these kids. These places screwing. Okay, fine, fine, fine. But he screwed over the kids he left behind too. And the more I think about it, he left to be selfish on a bad team so that he didn't have to play what Auburn's doing so well at right now. So I love that he came in and got to see in person what it looks like to play unselfish basketball. And he got to see that being on his team, he can still lead the scoring at 10, but he's going to lose by 23 points.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't really know if it matters to them, to him. I don't really know if it
It's
matters.
got to.
Yeah.
There's no way that's not eating at them as they go out of here.
I mean, who's to say? Uh, it's it's interesting
I
because
love this. I love the new chat. Glennis Curry. Thanks for I love having the conversation. He's the guy that disagreed with me on Twitter about Flanagan's game change. He said I'm here and I still disagree. Watch him outside of the games against AU plays. Great. I'll check it out. I watched him against LSU when they lost against LSU, I believe, last game, and I thought the same thing. But yeah, I'll keep watching his games. I mean, they're ranked right now, so they'll still be talked about. So I'll check them out. So we'll have more conversation about that going forward. I mean, Ryan, you
well,
agree with me, but
I think his game might have changed a little bit because they are allowing him to do stuff that here at Auburn, like, that just didn't work well. That game outside of there is that's how they're running their offense, right? He has to be a volume shooter and a volume offensive player for them to do well and play 30 minutes a game in order for them to do well. But it is what it is. I mean, they are Ole Miss is what they are. Like they're an isolation team, they're a drive hard to the basket team, and that's what he does well at. So, he found a good fit and went with it for his last year, and all the power to him. I think we got better from it. So
I'm loving the chat. Again, Glennis, thanks for letting us know your opinion. We're just a fan podcast. We're having fun out here, enjoying the game the same way you guys are, learning the same way you guys are. So if anybody ever disagrees with our opinions on some of these players or different takes we have, please let us know. It's great. It's great for conversation. So the last guy we need to talk about MVP wise, talk about Cardwell. That's your favorite. Talk about Jaylin. just being so efficient and leading the team right now at the start of these games. It's setting the tone. The last guy, and he gets his every single time. And we've been missing a guy. We missed a guy last year like that. And he was on the team, but Johni Broome, he is getting his. He might not get it in the first half, but he'll get it in the second. He might not get it in the second, but he got it in the first. And he's just consistently a threat down there. And this was a bad matchup game for him. Two 7-footers at Ole Miss that have to play against, and he's still got some crafty moves off. Still had 13 points to help lead the team. It's 13 and 13 for Jaylin and Johni, and 12 from Cardwell. 5 of 9 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. His 3 was a little dubious on a bank, but hey, that's what happens when you shoot the ball. Sometimes it goes in, and that's the guy we need to talk
Well,
about next is another team leader.
it's also crazy because like for Janai, we really didn't run much for him tonight. I don't remember a lot of post ups that he had. A lot of his stuff was cleanup off the glass, and um, I think his time will come where we need for him to be a back down. We need a basket go to him, but a lot of his
Well,
stuff.
remember the Arkansas game where he just looked unbeatable. Holy crap! Like got everything he wanted. It's just a matchup thing, and that's what's so amazing about this team right now is we can win in so many different ways, right? Like
Yeah,
we beat down Arkansas with that. In this game where it's a bad matchup, we got Dylan Cardwell going off instead.
but that
Incredible. We have two centers like this.
But that, yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. I mean, we go to the bench, and sometimes depending on the matchup, we may get better going off the bench. Just with Dylan's athleticism and the way that him and Trey have a great connection off of pick and rolls, off of slip screens. Trey is great at faking the defender off with his eyes, and there's at least once a game where he'll hit Dylan, who's either wide open into the basket or for an alley-oop, and always in the first half, by the way. He's always hitting that in the first half for Dylan, and it's a great combination that them two have, when it comes to that. And part of what makes this offense so great is that we are just moving so well and getting those opportunities to make those passes, from Dylan. And Aiden had some great passes tonight. Yeah, our turnovers were maybe a little higher than usual. I think we got a little sloppy there, but overall, I mean, these guys are,
Well,
are
we lost the turnover battle, surprisingly. 17 for Ole Miss. Or wait. No, never mind.
Mhm.
You're right. We still won it. They had 17, we had 60, but it was close. It was only a 1 point difference.
Yeah, but yeah, I I also want to hit on another player that I think is getting
Another
very
MVP. I mean, this is what it's
yeah,
been a team game. You think this next guy can get MVP? Let me know.
not an MVP, but I think we should discuss just how comfortable Chaney Johnson looked tonight. He's
He hit
he's
some good shots.
he's looking
And
comfortable.
are you letting the 3 blocks at the end of the game skew your
No, I'm
decision making? What have you done for me lately?
There was one in the first half where he got a ball, made a couple moves, hit a step back jumper right in front of the 3-point line, and was a beautiful shot. And that's where I was like, all right, that's where I saw something that was like, all right, the game's starting to slow down for him a little bit. I see someone in the chat saying that they were also pleased with Chaney Johnson tonight. I think the game's starting to slow down for him, which
Yeah.
I think we've all been waiting for, coming from that jump from D2 to now. They
And
just
we know he's your guy too. You were talking preseason about him, and he's been
Yeah,
up and down at times. But yeah, you're right. Tonight he looked great. 6 points, 3 of 4 from the field, 5 rebounds in 18 minutes. It's just
yeah.
another one of those guys. I mean, this second line is so fun to watch. I get so excited when our second line comes in with Cardwell, Chaney, CBM, KD, and Trey. It's exciting. They play an exciting brand of basketball.
Yeah,
And
and
I saw
even
someone, yeah, sorry.
even Lior for 10 minutes. I mean,
Lior
he
had
had,
great minutes this game. We had 11 guys playing, 11 guys scored in the first half. The first half, 11 guys scored.
if you look around the SEC today, right? Like there's obviously three clear-cut favorites, right? I mean,
Well, according to the SEC network, Alabama's still on that. I thought that was a
yeah,
really like hyping up the next matchup situation. There's no way Alabama's in the same tier as Tennessee, Auburn, and Kentucky.
yeah, there's obviously three clear-cut. I mean, Alabama will win their games against, everyone else, right? And that's what will keep them up in the probably the top five there. But what makes those three teams so great is our depth, right? Auburn's depth, Kentucky's depth, Tennessee's depth. I mean, that's what's really, I think, wearing a lot of these teams down is that when we go to the bench, all three of these teams, we don't get worse, right? And
But
they bring so much off the bench, which I think is incredible.
People are really going nuts for Adrian Scott right now. Is he one of the guys that came in at the end of the game?
Yeah, he's the one that so Cheney bought that shot at the end, and then AD Scott had those other two blocks. But I mean, he's a JUCO guy who came in and is just happy to be here, working his tail off. So it was
We
nice. It was nice
we
for him to get a bucket and a couple blocks there.
we love our walk-ons, and we love it. Yeah, we don't. It's rare that you put your walk-ons in SEC play, right? In my opinion, there's been a couple times already we could have done that, and we just didn't. I think it's part of
Extremely
like
rare.
a seems like a gentleman's agreement kind of thing. Like other, I guess maybe at home they do it more often. So I was surprised to see they even got in after seeing them not get in the last couple of games. The last
Well,
people we need to check is Ben says on Twitter Jalen's the favorite for MVP. The last people we need to check before we can grant an MVP here, which my mystery, but I feel like I stayed pretty neutral in that discussion, right? So I still, can help push the thing here. But here, what does Reddit say? Midi MN says Bruce Pearl for crafting this team. Love that. Honestly, this game has got to be one of the biggest temptations. We decided in the first season of this podcast because we did a dual MVP or two. We did a team MVP. It's just not as fun as discussing the actual MVP. So we have to pick somebody. But I do love the Bruce Pearl pick there. Big PP Pal said Adrian Scott. Omo Concept says Cardwell for hyping up the arena both with his antics and with his play these days. It used to just be the antics. Now it's the play too. Keep cool. It says Adarian Scott. My man was 2 points, one block in 1 minute of play. That's 72 blocks or 72 points and 36 blocks per 36 stats. Give him the trophy. Love that. That's what you come back to Reddit for right there. That's free content from Reddit. AU Bear Legend says having a blast. Got to go to bed. Dylan is the MVP. One less than Johni and Jaylin in points, but his dishes were responsible for at least 8 points, and he shut down their offense. That's really something we don't talk enough about is Cardwell's defense. And we're talking about the points here with Jaylin and Johni, but that defense, I think it might be. I'm hinting a little bit where I'm head here because I think that defense is something special. Ribs and Whiskey says Bruce. Everyone contributed. I love the fact that this is such a coaching win right here. See, keep Coolidge said again. Nobody be mean and say Flan is MVP for leaving us so we can get CBM. I did think that early before he got his 10. I literally did like, can we give the MVP for him being off the team? I don't think it's that bad. I still wish he'd come back, but we went through. We roasted Flanigan enough already. I think.
yeah.
Cage Chicane said Peacock. AU Art said, "Don't make me choose. I love them all." So we had quite a response here on who the MVP would be. But I got my shot here. Red Mount Vodka, the Auburn themed vodka company from Charles Barkley with the Charles Barkley statue that we recommended. Oh, here he goes. Storman's going to get his Charles Barkley Red Mount. If you're in the chat, if you're listening at home, even if you're listening on a Sunday morning to what happened in this post-game pod, pick up your vodka, pour a shot with us, celebrate, because it's not going to be every day we can do this. We're in the golden age of Auburn basketball. I'm pouring it up here, guys. Take a minute and remind yourself it's the good old days. War Eagle and Dylan Cardwell, congratulations for your second MVP of the season.
Good stuff.
That's 2 MVPs for Cardwell. He's been playing for our team for 5 years now, right? And he's
Yeah,
turned
well,
a corner and he's getting his MVPs.
hey, look, college basketball nowadays, right? The older you get, the better you are. It's how it is. It's crazy. These guys are sticking around and realizing, hey, the more I stick around, the better I'm going to be. And Jalen's one of the more perfect examples of that right now. I mean, even Dylan, like it's crazy. We always have the debate of these younger players coming in, right? But at the same time, I think Bruce and a lot of these teams' philosophies is, hey, the older I get, the better I'm going to be. And I think you're seeing us have one of the best examples of that, right now with our team compared to a lot of other teams across the country that go hardcore um, freshman classes, which is becoming more rare and rare by the year. I think Kentucky, Duke is probably the only outliers this year, with just how good they may be because they're freshmen. But overall,
Mr.
like the mix of it is crazy right now.
Mr. Beautiful in the chat says everybody could come back next year except for Jaylin and Berman. Is that true? Does KD still
That's
have some time?
100% true.
CBM still got time?
Yeah,
Cardwell could even come back again? Is that
COVID
really
year,
true?
COVID.
That can't be true for Cardwell, right?
Yeah. He just
Holy
graduated
crap.
this year,
That's
so
a
he should
game
have.
changer. I don't know why I assumed both KD and Cardwell were also definitely gone. But that's a game changer if Cardwell comes back again next year. When I assumed we're going to lose both our centers. Now I'm going to assume Johni. I know he's got eligibility left, but this is
He
one of
can,
those.
yeah,
This is one of those. He came back to hit threes and go to the NBA. So I doubt he comes back.
yeah. No, that's a great point by Mr. Beautiful there. I love the name, by the way. Um, yeah, I mean, Cardwell came in with a lot of eligibility left, um, and I mean, you'd have to imagine, like you mentioned, that he's probably 1 foot out the door this year. Just with the feedback he got last year, but you never know.
We're glad to get him back this year, honestly. And his whole thing, I feel like he's hitting threes. And now he's not hitting them at a clip that I think is going to improve his stock that much, really. But I think sometimes when these kids get that in mind, he's been around for a while. But Cardwell, man, for some reason I get the vibe that he's not coming back, that he's had his time in Auburn. But why not? If you're improving like this every single year, you take
Uh,
another step. I mean, I didn't know if he
I
had
mean,
this in him. So you
at
take
some
another.
at,
I
at
don't
some
know.
point, like it's just time to move on. Like I think we're seeing. It's funny. There's a trend on Twitter or X, sorry, where a player
Don't correct that. Don't correct that. It's still Twitter.
where a player comes back for like their sixth or seventh year and everyone like quote tweets it and says like get a job. Like, dude, you should be getting a job right now instead of like keep coming back and just playing and playing and playing. Like obviously you're not good enough to play at the next level, but you keep coming back and it's like you're either going for your doctorate, which is great, or
Please
you're just like
do. Yeah.
you're just really milking it.
Oh,
So he might
we're all
he might
milking it. Milk it, guy. You're living the absolute dream. I think that's insane that people
all
are
right, no,
saying don't come back. It's the
that's a great point.
dream.
No, I'd give
That's
anything to come back
ridiculous
to Texas.
take, honestly, for people to be like, move on from having the best time of your entire life that we all had, and you get to be a star basketball player in the meantime and get everything paid for. No way I'm moving on.
Well, there's a dude from Miami that's like at his ninth year, and that's where people are like, all right, dude,
Tight, yeah, from the
you
other
should probably
sport,
get a
right?
job.
Yeah, maybe that one. Who else do you want to
So,
talk about in here? We've talked about so many great players in here. Maybe
yeah,
some of the point guards.
how well let me get your take on this. So the past 4 games, right? 4 SEC games, we have really exploded in every single first half. I mean, actually exploded. Like we look down, it's a 2 point game. Look up, we're up by 19, heading to halftime. You know, it's always so interesting, right? Because you go into the second half and you're restarting right where you are, right? You're restarting. It's basically a 0-0 game, even though you're up 19. And we always seem so lax, right? And rightfully so. It's so hard to keep that foot on the pedal. You always start trying to put lineups in, mix and match, when you're up so big to try things out. I think we saw a little bit of that tonight. We just kind of kept rolling with the same lineup, let it be. Is there any concern to you moving forward that we keep giving up these leads, if you will, or just
Yeah,
I mean, I think
it's the one nitpick. People are looking for something to nitpick, and it's the one
it
nitpick is
is.
that we lost the second half in the last 2 games for this. So I was watching this game to see if we lose the second half in this one, and we didn't. I just looked it up. We scored 36, they scored 32. So it's great to see that we won the second half in this one. I mean, there's if you're looking for other things to talk about, we haven't. I mean, this was a top 25 team, but I think we all believe this was a paper tiger that wasn't that good to begin with. So we still have to
Mhm.
play some of these top level teams and see how that's going. Some close games. We lost our close game against App State. We lost our close game against Baylor. But I think that Texas A&M game took a little bit off our back. That was a close, tight, really physical game. So I think we showed in that one that made a difference.
I
The
would like
interesting.
to I'd like to correct Michael in the chat. This was not a quad one win, it was a quad two win, unfortunately.
So we still haven't gotten our quad one win yet, which will come
So
against Alabama, right? I assume if we win
that
on
would
Wednesday.
be yep. Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be big to see if we can win again away. Arkansas has been really bad the rest of the way, so that big win in Fayetteville does not look quite as great as it was before. So I'll still be, crossing my fingers and be tensed up at Alabama. Alabama could be 0 wins the entire season. I would still be tensed up at Alabama just for the rivalry there. They're gonna want to win. But the crazy part too about the second half, I mean, it's just that we get lax. We stop making the same crisp passes. We stop kind of being as focused and we start trying to like go for the kill shot a little bit. We start just trying to hit those open threes. We start trying to hit something in transition where I think we would have been smarter and backed it out beforehand. But the other crazy part of the second half thing is we have all this depth, but we're taking the leads in huge magnitudes and 20 plus point leads in the first half when the whole thing with depth is it's supposed to wear a team down, right? You would expect if our depth is what we're kind of really like pointing to, it would be like tight first halves and then we pull away late. But no, we are pulling away early. And I think it really just comes down to how great that second line is. The other teams can't even handle that first rotation when they have to put some backup players in. And when we put our guys in and they're just as good, they can't handle it.
Yeah, it's definitely fascinating, and I can't wait to see how I feel like we could possibly have the same thing happen Wednesday because Alabama is such an interesting team with just how bad they are on defense, but yet how good they are on offense, and yet our defense is so good,
Can you
that we
believe how good our defense is? That was like our whole thing, right? This year, that was like, we'll probably transfer some guys in. We'll be good at offense now, but our defense is going to suffer. Can these guards guard? We might have to score 80 points to win games. And we are suffocating teams. They can't handle that second line is so much fun to watch. They speed everyone up. Katie's flying around like crazy. Cardwell's flying around like crazy. CBM is turning into a steal machine. He's had 6 steals last game, and I know at least saw one this game. The length on him has really gotten people. And then Chain's just solid out there. And I saw someone online say you kind of have to prepare for 2 different teams, and that might be getting people a little bit right now. Our first
and
line plays different than our second line. It's already hard enough to get prepared for one team on a 2 or 3 day gap between SEC games. Now you got to get ready for 2 different styles of play with the 2 different lineups.
yeah, I mean it's the defense, and that goes back to the whole, who we replace guys with on the second team, on the first team and the second team. And yet it's a totally different style of play for some players, but yet, they each bring their own different quality, which I think you're right, messes people up. But for Wednesday, it's all about running Alabama off the 3-point line, right? And I think we got the guys who could do it, just as Tennessee does. And so, if they don't hit their shots, then and I think Bruce, we've had him for a coach 10 years, right? I think we know when he thinks a team is good, but he tries to portray it as like, well, we don't really know, like, right, like the defense, yada yada yada. But like in reality, I think he knew that the potential was there, but can we reach that potential? Like, I think he knew that Denver Jones possibly could be a good defender, but we just hadn't seen it at this level yet. And yet he's consistently coming out every single game, getting better and being like, Denver seems like a guy who just loves to defend, and if the shot's there, he's going to take it, which is
But
the exact
we're starting
opposite
to
of what we
have
thought we were going to get.
a little bit of a narrative that maybe the reason why Denver is not the big scorer is kind of twofold. There's so many guys on this team playing so well and scoring so much, he doesn't need to be the guy driving the ball or forcing the issue. And then two, he's playing such good defense that of
Yeah.
course he's maybe not worn out on offense, but he's playing such great defense that he's come back on offense, and that's almost the rest period for him because he's got so many other scores on offense. So I think a little twofold there.
It's the beauty of this team, right? They've all bought in. They bought into what their role is. KD's bought into being the sixth man off the bench. Denver's bought into being, he didn't have to be a volume shooter like it was at FIU. He's coming in, he's playing defense, and if the shot's there, he's going to take it. His drive game. I think I told you at the beginning of the year, like it's not his game, but I think it'll come, and it's starting to come a little bit, right? Like he's
You
realized,
I said this to the chat and no one really responded to it, but this is where we talk about this kind of thing. I'm getting vibes, and I'm hoping I'm getting vibes that he might be the Samir Dowdy of this team. On the 2019 or 18-19 Final Four team, Samir Dowdy was fine. Solid guy, hit some shots, played some good defense, good, no star. The next year, he was a star. He was a scorer. He was the guy we went through, and he showed that he was the guy that could finish the basket when he got calls. Do you think he could be the Samir Dowdy when this team comes back next year?
I can see it, but I
Like
think they're
once we start
completely.
passing the ball through him, could he open up and be like, well, actually, he could have made those shots. He just didn't try those shots last year when there was better shots to be gotten.
Possibly, but I think they're two completely different players. Like Samir is a junkyard dog. Maybe Denver's that guy, but
Is he
but
nice playing great defense?
Samir grew up in the Northeast, just like learn how to play tough. And
And Denver's just not tough.
I don't know. He may be. I don't know. I mean, Samir played at VCU, Shaka Smart, Will Wade, like what was playing that type of defense all the time, offense. Like we knew that type of player. Give me a little bit of time to think about that.
No, that's true. We didn't know we had Samir when we had Samir either. We watched the whole season of Samir in that Final Four team and didn't know we had the Samir that we were going to have next year. Like we act like that we knew that was going to happen with Samir. We didn't. He came in next year as the baller, and we had no idea he was going to be the star of that team like that. I have to.
That's a good theoretical question there, and I do feel like players like Denver. I don't want to start talking about next year, right? Next year is going to be this weird thing of who all's coming back, right? And then who all we're bringing in. It's going to be fascinating to see. I don't know if he'll have the opportunity to be able to do that, but you know, who knows? We'll see.
Just something to think that the reason I bring it up is just that if people complain about him not maybe hitting as many shots as we thought he was going to, it could be a Samir Dice trip where like the talent that we thought he has is still there. He's just not needing to do it when he's got so much talent around him. I have to apologize that I kept saying 4-0 in the SEC. We are 5-0 in the SEC, 0 losses, leading the SEC, sole leaders of the SEC. You want to talk about point guards real quick? Trey and Aiden out there, just solid again. Aiden's still shooting his shots, 1 of 4 from three, 9 points. The difference with him tonight, which he keeps shooting those threes, and they look good. But man, it's a little disappointing that they're going in quite like I think. But every time he does take a three, I'm like, that was a good three. Like you take that three with a guy that you believe is going to hit at a pretty high percentage. I'm just hoping it's it. I still cross my fingers. I think in the next 2, 3, 4 games, he's going to have a game where he goes off for 15 plus because he starts hitting those threes. But his drive's really great tonight, and he's doing this interesting thing. He's already did it a little bit before, but now it's really obvious what he does. When he's driving the basket, he's got a guy behind him. He kind of slows up a bit, extends his arm way out to where that guy would have to go through him to block that shot, and it's working. And I'm glad he's kind of figured out something there. Now, if there's any help defense at all, it's screwed. It's going to get blocked. But the way
Mhm.
he's finishing with the guy behind him like that, he blows by his guy, kind of puts his arm out real long, puts his body in the way. Same kind of thing where a lot of these little guys use the basket to block the block starter. So it's just good he's figuring something out.
Yeah, I mean that's the way you got to do it when you're undersized and you got the speed and you're trying to get to the basket there. Each point guard here brings such a different skill set, makes it so incredible to watch, right? And Trey, just with his ability on the ball and on defense and his playmaking abilities with the ball, passing, it's they each bring such a different skill set, but yet Trey Shot, continues to shoot 50% or so from every game from the 3-point line, right? He's not forcing it, but when he has a good look, he's taking it and he's taking the advantage of it. And Aiden, when he has an open shot, he's shooting it every single time. And most of the time it looks like it's going in. So point guard is was one of the biggest question marks coming in this year, right? Like how are they going to play? Are they going to be improved? And yet, that's probably our biggest staple, knowing every single game that we're going to have a consistent play out of those people. There's no thought in our mind that like that's going to be a question mark. Now, it will be when we play a team like Tennessee or Kentucky that's so strong at those positions, right? Like how are these guys going to come out and play? And that's probably going to be it's going to be a great question mark this week against Bama, right? With Mark Sears, clear head and shoulders Alabama's best player. When they go to the bench, they drop off tremendously. We go to the bench with these two guys. We're gonna keep throwing it at them. I'm curious to see who we're gonna have guard him because he's their complete offense. That's what the offense runs through is him. So is he gonna be, Denver? Is he gonna be Aiden? Is he gonna be Trey? That's gonna be fascinating to see. I can't wait to see kind of what our matchup's gonna be there. But I think when it comes to who has the advantage there this Wednesday, it's got to be us. Um, Even though they have probably a first team SEC player, Mark Sears, run the point there. So, um,
When you combine the players, I think that might be part of the reason it's hard for ESPN to figure out how to put a narrative around us a little bit. It was very frustrating going into this that we weren't getting any top 25 matchup love. There's not that many top 25 matchups in a week. Usually, sometimes there's not a top 25 matchup at all. So the fact that we had our top 25 matchup, I'm listening to some of these national podcasts, they're not even bringing us up at all. And then on top of that, they're not talking about much on the SEC network or anything when they're talking about it. They put us on the SEC network, first of all, also, which is annoying. Then the SEC network posts a graphic of all the SEC game matchups saying, "What a slate. Everybody tune in," and leaves us off of it. They left us off the end of the matchups. They have every other game but ours on there. It's just another like salt in the wound that they do not care about Auburn basketball right now. We don't have that star power that they're trying to get the neutrals to come in. But I think we're gonna change that narrative. I think Monday we will shoot up the rankings again. We didn't shoot up quite as high as I thought between the last two, but I think we'll see it definitely maybe a 7 or 8 even.
I mean, the narrative. I think I'd sit in our group chat, but like I think the reason why people weren't talking about our game against Ole Miss is because we were so highly favored. Like I was every game that we're playing is a double digit spread, which is just crazy. Like, and we keep covering it. We keep covering the the point spread. Tonight was 12 and a half, and we blew it out of the water. And so I'm actually very interested in Matt, and I love to follow this stuff. Very interested to see what our line is against Bama Wednesday at Bama. I'm thinking probably like a 5 point, like we may be favored by 5 points this Friday, Wednesday, which is absurd, but we keep winning these games by double digits, which I saw a stat today. We're the first SEC team to win this many games in a row by double digits since 2014, which is great. That's probably, obviously it's 10 years. So this team has been dominant. I think people are waiting for us to have a key win like this one on Wednesday. It's one of the biggest spots that we'll be in that we can
Well,
show and showcase that
the goalposts keep moving, right? Because the
it does.
Arkansas was going to be a big one, and this Ole Miss was going to be a big one. It's because we're dominating these teams so badly. Like if these teams beat us, the narrative would be completely different. Yeah, Ole
There
Miss
are
is legit. If they beat us at home, Ole Miss is legit. When we blew them out, so it's like, nah, Ole Miss isn't legit. Same with Arkansas. If we get lost to Arkansas in their place, they'd be, yeah, Arkansas is a good team, and we blew them out. So all of a sudden, Arkansas is a bad team. And I know like Arkansas lost a bunch of games since, and Ole Miss had a crappy schedule before this, but I just think it's funny that like now the Alabama game will be the big one. But if we blow Alabama out of the way, all of a sudden it'll be, yeah, but their defense stinks. They haven't beaten a good team all year. They just keep getting blown out by good teams anyways. And it won't be till the Kentucky game at home that we finally play a good enough team to make people think that we got somebody.
Yeah, I mean there are some podcasts I listen to, like the Field of 68 that loves us. I mean, they talk about us every week after every game. I think that narrative is going to change now that Tennessee whooped Alabama, and Kentucky got that new guy in this week, and they look incredible. So everybody's going to now favor them
What's the
too.
deal with the Kentucky guy? I saw the highlights and he looks really good. How come our teams Tennessee got that with Vescovi out of Uruguay and he's like ineligible, can't play college basketball. All of a sudden, midway through a season, he's playing. Same kind of thing with this guy. Why was he ineligible?
I hadn't been able to really look it up, to be honest with you. I just know I saw that today, and then I saw like a highlight of him making like four threes in a row, and everybody went nuts.
At
And
7'2".
yeah, so I don't really know what the story is there. I'll have to look it up and see, but it's just one of those things, and it is what it is. But
They look. Thank God we get Kentucky home because they look really good too. And Tennessee looks like as good as they have been the last couple of years. We get them one time away. Hopefully, we get a good scout on them. We've had their number. I'm frustrated that Tennessee seems to play the same level as we have in a couple of these seasons, but they always seem to get the love, that top 10 love the entire season, and it takes us. We have to work our way into it. Same with Jabari Walker Kessler year. Tennessee just gets to stay in the top 10 the entire year until we play them and prove that we're actually the better team. We'll see this year if that's the same kind of narrative. But Rick Barnes seems to get the benefit of the doubt where we do not.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, they did bring a lot of guys back, and I think a lot of people valued their transfer to Dalton Connect, which is what they run their whole team through now. And they had a really good non-conference schedule, and they won some big games, and so I think they're legit. Obviously, the question I think this is probably the best Tennessee team we'll face in a long time. As
I
much
think
as
they're legit too, and I think the teams of the past have been legit. I just think we're legit too, and we don't seem to get that same amount of love that Tennessee gets.
they've added a legit score, which they never really had, in my opinion, and that's what makes them dangerous to me.
Do me a
They still
favor, look through these stats over here on the right and pick one or two of them to talk about while I talk about some of these players really quickly. KD Johnson with 8 points on 19 minutes, 1 of 4 from three, just another solid game from him. I mean, it used to be every game was giveth and taketh. Now it's a lot of very solid great defense, leading the team in that second line. Who else we got out here? Chris Moore got 2 tonight. That was nice. He did not look like about liability tonight, which is fun. Chad Baker Mazzara, a slower night than usual or a quieter night than usual, but just great that he can. We know now that he can come up. And then a night tonight where we didn't need him, he wasn't a liability. Played good defense. Played good overall. And then finally, we talked about Lior briefly, but man, great, solid game out of Lior Berman. 4 points on 10 minutes, shut down Allen Flanagan for 3 straight possessions, which was great. That might be a foretelling a little bit on how we're going to play star players in the future. I think there's a little bit of like, all right, who's going to guard these guys? Because it doesn't feel like maybe some of our guys are stars in these positions. But I think Bruce is just going to roll with who we got and believe that they're going to do their job. And Lior did that tonight. We played Lior 10 minutes. We've not been playing Lior 10 minutes much. We had a great game and we just kept rolling with him. So
Yeah.
Chris Moore, solid too. So like we're gonna roll with our guys. I think we might keep being. I hope it's like this. I hope we keep being surprised that they stand up with the best of the SEC.
Yeah, I've only got a few minutes left here, Jackson, but I'll say it's funny because I wonder if Lior played at Flanigan really well in practice, like over the years. And like they knew
They
that.
knew. They knew they got their number here.
And he would try to drive and he was just bodying him up. That was really interesting to me because I was like, he's playing really well. I wonder if they guard each other in practice a lot, over the years. Um, but I'll wrap up a few of my thoughts here and then I'll sign off, let you kind of wrap things up here. But I think this game was pretty telling to me because, even though we were favored so well, we kind of knew Ole Miss, probably was a little bit of paper tiger. There was still some concern of like they're really athletic. They could score pretty well. They have some big men. Like how are we going to play here? And we just came out and we took care of business and we dominated. From the start, we led for 38 minutes and 1 second. I mean, we led the whole game. It's this is a great game. Now all the focus goes towards Wednesday, right? Alabama is going to try to throw everything at us. There's all of that history there. What can we do to shut down their offense, which is number one in Kim Palm? Well, was number one in Kim Palm. I hadn't been able to look to see what they dropped to tonight. But are we going to be able to run them off the 3-point line? Are we going to be able to um, stop them from scoring because they can't stop us? So what can we do to stop them? And that's going to be the narrative, I think, Wednesday night when we played them. And I'm really excited about it. I think our guys are going to really be fired up for this, especially Jaylin, Johni, those players last year that could have won both those games. I think this is their opportunity to go in there and show them
I
what
think
we got this year, which is exciting.
I think when you're beating down teams this badly, Bruce is a master motivator. That's part of like maybe like one of his best skills as a coach. So like going into this Alabama game, it's a good timing for it, honestly, because we're blowing these teams out. If we were going into Mississippi State or going into, I don't know, one of these other teams, it might not have the same motivation level. But I think you're right. I think they understand the rivalry. They know that we played them twice last year. They know it's important for our own fans. So I think it's going to be intense either way. I think the telling thing I will be looking for in the next game is if our second line defense can shut down their offense. If they're still scoring at will, it gets our second team like squad that's gotten such great defense going. That will be telling. That will be an issue. That'll kind of be your sign early on that it's going to be not the blowout, or it might even be the other way around. They're going to beat us if we can't play defense at that level.
Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be. I'm excited for it. I
Yeah.
love these type of games, and we always seem to play Bama first at their place when we're highly ranked. So over the past, besides 2021, over the past we have not played well in these type of games. But those were different teams. Those were different Bama teams. So I'm curious to see how we do Wednesday.
Yeah. Ryan, I'll let you go. I know you got things to do. I'm going to go through some stats, and then we'll go through the SEC and we'll stay live a little longer. Thanks, Ryan, for coming on.
All right,
We'll
man.
see you again on Wednesday.
See you,
Uh,
man.
Chris Thomas said, when Flang got the ball with Lior, Denver, Cheney, etc. on him, he tried to attack. When Chris Moore was on him, he looked for a pass. Respect that man's defense. Yeah, I did notice that, but that is amazing if that's true. Yeah, he thought he had quite the matchup with Lior. He's not the only one in the SEC that's seen Lior on them and go, clear everything out. I'm gonna go on the Lior. I'm gonna go try to do something. And Lior usually stands up to him. It's probably like 75% Lior wins that battle. 25% of the time he gets roasted. But tonight it was all Lior, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And man, I guess Lior, I guess this is his final year. I think that's someone in the chat said it's been a lot of fun to watch this walk on. We might not ever see a walk on 11th man like this again. And we've had complaints at times for Lior because he just sticks out. But he's got to be the best 11 man in the game. Nobody's playing 11 men. And when we can put an 11th guy in that's solid, like Lior, that can hit open shot, can hit his free throws, can play good defense, that's amazing. We'll go through some stats real quick while we're still on the podcast and the SEC, and then we'll turn off the recording and just stay on live for a bit. But 3-point percentage, 44%. We were 60% at halftime. That's huge. You forget how stagnant the offense would look if we weren't hitting our open threes. We're making great passes, getting great open shots, and hitting them. Holy crap. After last year, the frustration of watching all these good shots go missing, to watch this team turn it around and hit the way they are now, we're just starting to get used to it. Like, I mean, you see an open shot, you expect it to be made, but it's not like that in college basketball all the time. So I think we're kind of taking for granted a little bit how well we're shooting from three. So that's been a lot of fun to watch. Free throw percentage here, 10 of 11, 91%. Ben, shout out Ben. He loves the free throws. And it's been huge this year. It's been great. It's been great to see some guys that were struggling in the past do really well. Points off turnovers, of course, 22-17 us. I thought that might be even bigger than that, but we did have some turnovers for sure this game. But we got them rattled. We had some great moments. Johni had a great still. I love our out of bounds plays. Bruce, we've been saying it for so many years that Bruce is great with out of bounds plays. They're calling it on the ESPN broadcast special teams. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with that name. It's kind of a fun name. Johni had this great play where he's guarding the inbound pass and they threw it and he kind of got a block / catch of it. And he knew he couldn't control it, and he just threw it against the guy on the out of bounds line. He just called it. And everybody kind of looked around like, yeah, it's out of bounds and Ole Miss, right? And even the ref pointed the wrong way for a second and they go, wait, sorry, my mind got tricked a bit there, and points back the other way. Just a really smart play in the air from Johni Broome. Let's see what else we got here. Surprisingly lost the rebound battle. Didn't feel that way, but hey, we were shooting, making a lot of our points there. Second chance points, 22 for us. Ole Miss, 17. Here's the classic stat. We might break some records with this stat this year. I don't know what the records are, but we might break some records. Bench points, 40. Ole Miss bench points, 18. I'd love to know if there's a record for how much, like a plus certain amount for bench points, because we have to be heading that way. I don't know. I'm sure Marlene's on top of it, or SIDs are on top of it, figuring out if that's heading towards a record. But definitely probably an Auburn record for the very least. But I'd love to know nationally. Another huge stat. Another blowout stat. We blew out Ole Miss. 42 points in the paint to Ole Miss's 28. I mean, Cardwell was feasting down there. That was a ton of fun to watch him catch everything and finish everything that he got down low. It's really fun. And for like, it just, when you see him doing it now, it makes sense. He's down there, he catches it, he jumps up, he dunks it. Makes sense. But he's doing this stuff through contact now. He's catching balls really smoothly and going up really quickly. And when he doesn't dunk the ball, he's smooth with it. And he was not in the past. That would have been bricked right off the backboard. And then when he's going to get fouled, this is he's making his free throws. That just makes all the difference in the world. No one's hacking him because he's going to make his free throws. And when it just changes a game like tonight where he got an additional 2 points from the free throw line, 2 of 2, 100%. So it takes his game from a 10-point game to a 12-point game. And that's a difference. That's a big difference. We got some people in the chat here. Mr. Beautiful, yes, Chris Moore is a great role player. We love Chris Moore. It's been interesting to see him start with CBM playing so well, but tonight, looked pretty even. Also said, if we get ranked 7 or 8, like you suggested, I hope we don't get complacent. I agree. I just love when we get recognition. I know, like, if recruiting, knowing that we're in the golden age of basketball now, I want this place's culture to be set. It annoys me. It annoys me. It's interesting. Arkansas gets all this love that they should be a basketball school because they won an national championship in the 90s and went to another one in the 90s. And they've like set this culture. For me growing up, Arkansas was whatever. Like that was like in my childhood. I don't remember that really. Like they were just a fine team throughout most of the years I paid attention to college basketball. So the fact that they just get this love from such a long time ago, I'm hoping when Bruce Pearl finally leaves that we've set such a culture of winning and being a top 25 team or being a top 10 team consistently, that's how people talk about us. So we should be that good. We should always be that good. So I'm hoping that's kind of what I want to stay in the national spotlight as much as possible. Charles Langford says, loving the free throw efficiency. Totally agree. Game changer. No one talks about it enough. Fast break points. Surprised we lost it. 11-8. Block party. 5 blocks to their 3. A lot of those blocks came at the end. We're not quite having the block party we have had in the past years, but I'm okay with that. We're playing great defense and turning the ball over a lot and having a lot more possessions. So I'm okay with the fact that people aren't getting blown by the guard position so that we leave it open for blocks. It's fine. Assist, again, another great stat for us. 19 assists to their 11 assists. Passing the ball, really great. Every game, there's extra passes that I'm surprised by that lead to great open shots. A lot of great passes to our guys down low on these slip screens and different ways we've gotten our guys down low. And I mean, some of it's come to our point guards. They're just great passers. And some of it comes to the fact that Johni Broome and Cardwell catch the ball really great. They have great hands when they get the ball. And we've had people in the past that didn't have those same great hands. So we'll move on here to SEC scores. Let's see who did what here. Let's start with the standings here just because they're going to be beautiful. Oh my God. Auburn, number 1 in the conference, stands alone. 5-0. Second, the teams in the next tier. That's how they should be talking about. I'm tired of hearing Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee in the same tier. It should be Auburn tier, number 1. The next tier, the contenders that want to try to come after Auburn, Kentucky 4-1, Tennessee 4-1, Alabama 4-1. They've all got a loss. They also all have more losses at a conference than us. Alabama 6, Tennessee with 4, Kentucky with 3, and us with 2. We are on an 11-game win streak. By far the most in the SEC. The next best is Tennessee on a 3-game win streak. That's been a lot of fun. 11 games in a row we've won. It's been a while since we lost. I don't know what we're going to do when we lose. It's not going to be as fun on the podcast. Like I keep saying, we're having fun. We're having fun. It's fun winning. Let's see what the scores are tonight. South Carolina takes down Arkansas in Bud Walton. They beat them by 10 plus there. It looks like 13. So that's another, sign that Arkansas is just not going to turn it around this year. They're 1-4 in the SEC. They surprisingly beat Texas A&M a game or two ago. I don't think old Musselman's got it in them this year. Maybe I'll eat my words because they've turned it around several years in a row, but it only takes one like that to really go off the radar. So I'm hoping they can drop off a little bit in recruiting. And, we have enough tough teams to play as it is. It's nice when they're not on there. The big one from today, Tennessee blew out Alabama in Knoxville, 91-71, 20-point victory. That was fun to watch. I didn't want either team to win, really. But since Alabama was still undefeated at the time, I really wanted to be able to say tonight that we were the sole leader in the SEC. So that was nice. And I also just kind of wanted Alabama to get broken. I didn't think Tennessee would be broken either way. In fact, if Alabama beat them in Knoxville, I just think that it would be a kind of a reset a bit for Tennessee. Fine, whatever. But it would have given Alabama a lot of confidence that they are legit. And I'm glad they didn't get that. So they've lost to every good team they've played, really. So looking forward to Tuscaloosa on Wednesday. I will be very tensed up. I'm not sure which hosts will be on the podcast tonight, but we will be live for sure after talking about it, win or lose. Hopefully win. Hopefully 12 wins in a row. Revenge a bit from last year. Who else played? Let's see. Mississippi State takes down Vandy. Who cares? Mississippi State will be after Alabama. Vanderbilt's just bad. They're probably the worst team in the SEC. 0-5. Glad we could get that win in Nashville with Matt in attendance. Mississippi State. It'll be tough away at Mississippi State. We've seen these tough games. I mean, every game in the SEC away is tough. I expect to lose. I mean, like when we're playing this great, then maybe I don't expect to lose every one, but I'm not surprised anytime we lose away in the SEC. It's just tough. Texas A&M played LSU. Texas A&M with a victory. 2-3 in the SEC. They were one of the top favorite teams, I believe. They were up in the top 4 prediction wise. So just good to have them 2-3. Tough team to play. Glad we don't play them again unless we see them in the SEC tournament. LSU 3-2. We not much to say there. Georgia, Kentucky. We talked briefly about this. Kentucky beat Georgia 105-96. I'm a little worried about Georgia. they're like seem like they're sneaky competent, which is different than most Georgia teams have been. They've got the old Florida coach that was at Florida for the last bunch of years where Al Golden got there. We just can't have them be good. Recruiting wise, we could not have Georgia be good because the minute they show any competence, they will be able to start recruiting on stay in the state of Georgia, represent Atlanta and Georgia, blah 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 blah, and it'll really suck. And we don't need another team we play twice a year to be good. So it'll be something to watch. It took a Wendell charge score that should have been a charge to beat them a couple years ago. It's just they look a little bit dangerous. But Kentucky got that big, some sort of Eastern European guy or something, I believe, that looks dangerous. 7'2", hit 3 of 3 from three in his first game, got eligible somehow. We'll come back to you about the story he has. If somebody in the chat knows what the deal is with this new Kentucky player, let us know because they were already very good, already a top 10 team, and they just added another star player. So that's gonna be a tough one. Thank God we played them just at home in Neville Arena, and you could play the Lakers in Neville Arena against Auburn, and I would still think we got a chance because that place has got something different. Florida, Missouri, fine, whatever. Florida wins 79-67. Al Golden, we'll see if he can get it going down there. He's a Bruce disciple. We have to play in Gainesville, which has been a hard place for us to play, mostly because they've been really good for a long time. They're in a bit of a lull now, but we all remember the Billy Donovan days, and they had a great atmosphere there. And I don't know if anybody else has watched this. I think they've switched their cameras up. I always said this about the Duke situation. They didn't have the biggest arena in the world, but they put their students along the whole entire court with the camera on them the entire time. And a lot of these other places do not have their camera on the student section. They have their student section behind one of the goals. You can barely see them sometimes unless the camera comes onto them. And then we started having our student section with the camera right on it. I think it's a big deal nationally to see how hype we get in there. Some of it's just that our fans are that good. Some of it looks really good on TV that way. And Florida's fans were always like underneath the camera. They were also along the entire court, but they were on the other side of the camera. Like you would just kind of see the top of their heads a bit and some of the shakers. And they flip the camera around where you're looking straight at the student section now, and it looks really good. And I don't like having to play there. And then, of course, we were the last game of the day and blew out, dominated Ole Miss. A lot of fun out there. So that's your SEC recap. Let me know if there's anything else in the chat you guys want to talk about because I'll sign off here in a minute. It's been another fun one. Saturday night celebrating with Redmount Vodka and the boys in the jungle, our virtual Tumors Corner. Tell your friends. Leave us some comments on the podcast, like review thing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever. Like and subscribe on the YouTube so you get notified when this happens. So if you're just an audio listener, an OG audio listener, I'm with you. I am an OG audio person also. I don't really tune into lives very often, but I think it's fun to be part of the chat. If you just go to your YouTube, find the Jungle Auburn Basketball Podcast on there and hit notify me. You're just going to get a notification after each game because you're already watching the game as it is, and it'll give you a little notification, like a text message on your phone, say, hey, they're live now. And there's times where we go live a little bit later. There's times when we go live with coaches, and hopefully we'll get another coach on here soon. We just got done with Ira Bowman, which we've been trying to get for a while. Great interview. Every interview we do is very evergreen. Go check them out. They're big picture thoughts. So they're always good to go back and listen to Coach Cliff Ellis. Also, we've had 3 Auburn head basketball coaches on: Bruce Pearl, Cliff Ellis, and Coach Sonny Smith of the Auburn Tigers. So all fun to listen to. Some of our favorite interviews. We always wear the suit for them. So I'm going to sign off. Hopefully we'll see you with another win on Wednesday against Alabama and War Eagle, folks. I'll stay on the YouTube a little bit longer and do a little memeing if that sounds fun to you guys. Like to give the live YouTube a little something extra. Let's see what we got here. See if anybody memed the Ole Miss account. Ooh, that's what I missed. Holy crap. This is the first time I'm seeing that big block from Chaney Johnson. Wow. I don't know how easily this is going through YouTube. Wow. That's the first time I'm seeing that. I had to walk away for a second to get this thing set up. Incredible. He about broke the ball. About busted the ball like a balloon. That's how hard he got that. Holy crap. That is a lot of fun. Let's see if we can find March Madness talking about us. That's good. That's good. Let's go to Ole Miss basketball here. Oh, please tell me that's not Chris Beard arrested. That cannot be Chris Beard, right, chat? That's not Chris Beard. Like he got arrested, right? That can't be a picture of him, right? In pinstripes. That kills me. Thankfully, y'all have an ethically sound Bruce Pearl as your coach. Yeah, Brain says, just say you don't like barbecues. It's good. That's insane to me. He's calling out a potential. Here's the story. Chris Beard got accused of beating his wife, and then his wife, and that's why he got fired from Texas, and then his wife recanted, and that's why he's at Ole Miss. To compare throwing a barbecue for a recruit to beating someone for domestic violence, just delete your account, Hunter. Nice. Upgrade. Perfect. We hated on Flanigan a bit in this podcast tonight, but I enjoyed him when he was at Auburn. So, just what it is. Don't leave Auburn. Is that Benedict Arnold? Love it. We'll see how this game goes in Oxford. I'm sure he's going to bring the same energy. I'm sure he's going to want to get his in Oxford. He might go off for 30 or something in Oxford against us as revenge or whatever. But it's him that left. So yeah, sad when you leave, you get meaned. Don't leave Auburn, you won't get meaned. Go back and listen to the Wes Flanigan interview. Good stuff. Still an Auburn legend, Wes Flanigan. Same for his son, I guess. I just hate they left. No barn. Bring it back. Let's get peacocking again. We that blue blood. Let them know. Speak it into existence. Oh my God, if we could get NCAA basketball back again. There's like no talk of it at all. The other sports getting all the talk, and even then that's taking forever to get out. I don't know if like sports games just aren't getting the love they used to. To be fair, growing up, the college sports games every year a new one, and everybody went nuts on the dynasty and had a great time. I don't really hear the kids talking like that anymore. Maybe they are. I guess hear about a lot with 2K. NBA players still play a lot of the games, so maybe it's just that they haven't had the opportunity to play these college games. So 98, boo this man. Going in on the uniforms. I gotta, you gotta praise a bit. This man goes in. He is so dedicated to the uniforms. We had him on and we talked to the Under Armour representative about this year's Auburn basketball uniforms, which I love. These look great. And so go back and listen to that if you want to hear more about a deep, deep dive with the Auburn uniform legend with Under Armour. It's back before the season started. Bucket hat night. What's next? What's next? Bucket hat, like I felt we're like one bucket hat night away from us being done with bucket hats. What's next? What's after bucket hat? Sunglass night? What if we gave sunglasses out? The whole student section, like some dope wraparound style sunglasses. That'd be pretty dope. Chat, let me know what you think. Sunglasses? The Zumba pants. Y'all remember those? The like zebra style pants. These things. Zumba's pants. Let's get this going. Orange and blue Zumba's pants. That's what needs to be handed out next time. Look at this thing. Hand them out. Whole section. Orange and blue pants. And sunglasses. Do them both at the same time. And bobbleheads. And do it in Beardy's Memorial. And then afterwards, blow it up. Have the blow up button, like the plunger everybody likes to push down. Have it be a basketball goal, and have Dylan Cardwell jump up for alley oop, thrown up by Charles Barkley, and Dylan Cardwell can throw it down on the rim and break the rim in the backboard, and that triggers the explosion of Beardy's Memorial. Y'all are getting the good nuggets if you stayed on live. They playing the guitar. Love CBM. Love that he doesn't, that these players don't have to have their big nights. They don't take those shots. You just don't take the shots if it's not coming to you. I love it. Blue Bloods, baby. Can't wait to do it again on February 3rd with Stilly Dan. Love it. There's the new bucket hats we were talking about. Owen! Owen! Remember that commercial? Sonny Smith got to watch his TV show because you lost so bad. I must have missed that. I wish we could get the radio call more easily on the broadcast. I did for a whole season. I would listen to just the radio timed up to the game. It's just too difficult. It's too much work. Is this really Chris Beard? I gotta look that up. Incredible. That really is Chris Beard. How do you hire this man? There's a lot of people like stay classy, don't do this. Would have been a dope poster for somebody to hold up behind the in the student section. Just saying. Plan never again. Nice. Thanks for taking one for the team. Man, I forgot about the whole Ole Miss mascot drama. The Rebels to the Black Bears to the Land Sharks. It all could have been avoided if they could have just done the Captain Akbars. Just go Akbar on them. Could you imagine how much? I guess Disney would just never have given up the Akbar stuff. I guess that's really what it comes down to, that they'd have no control over their own mascot. But if they play it right, Disney does partnerships with them. They get the Wrexham style love. Like Disney would just love the Ole Miss Akbars. That would be, they would blow it up. They'd want to have all their games. They'd create shows around it. It'd be a big deal. Chad, Baker, Mazzara. I still don't get the Mazzara part. I'm still missing that. That must be some Aztec thing, but it was something different last time. All right, well, that was fun, guys. Another great Saturday night with the Auburn Tigers at the virtual Tumors Corner. I'll see y'all next time.